Hello there, good evening, welcome back to Celtic World Order podcast. As always, I'm Steve O'Matt, and it's a warm welcome back to the channel to everybody out there taking the time out of their Sunday to come and talk Celtic. As you can see, it's a full screen. The boys are back in town, the band is back together, whatever way you want to put it, doesn't matter. It's a full house of CWO here. You can see, of course, here's the ever-present, it's Paddy Boy, my bearded brother, the OG, the co-founder. And then down below, I was going to say the Bald Brothers, but it's a trio of balds on here, right? We've got Paul D and Joe down bottom. Guys, lovely stuff. The pre-season keeps on rolling around. The games are coming. We had the Sporting Lisbon. We upshot in the quality. We had Newcastle, and we upshot in the quality. And the results have been good. There's smiles on the faces. How are you boys doing all on screen? We'll start down bottom with yourself. Paul, how are you feeling, mate?
Hi guys, good to see you again. Pre-season has arrived. What more can you say? A nice attacking performance. We'll talk about many of the players. Obviously, there was a lot of changes to the squad, but no, brilliant to be back at Celtic Park. Tierney coming back home where he belongs. Brilliant performances all over the park, and a very cohesive attacking, joined-up Celtic performance that really did install a good bit of pride and confidence going into the new season.
Absolutely. Yourself, Paddy, you feeling the glow off that again, mate?
Yeah, listen, it's pre-season as well, and you never normally get too excited with pre-season games, but that one did excite me because that was a decent squad they put out, and we'll touch on that later on.
It was indeed.
The way they were acting as well before the game, as if it was just shooting in, coming up to play a team for the Farmers League, as they put it.
Yes.
Aye, back down the road with a tail between your legs. It was brilliant. I'd just like to say, get it round you, Eddie Howe. Get it round you, Anton Deck. Get it round you, Gaza.
Jimmy Neal.
Cheryl Cole. And
others.
Get it round. There are many other Geordies, but yeah, get that right round you. Have that one.
Aye, Joe, you know, it seemed it became a wee bit of a habit, is it not? Celtic like kind of dealing out the beatings. It was last year, it was Chelsea and it was Man City. You know, it's Newcastle this year. It's another top 5 English club, and as Paddy says, they came up there fully all the gusto and wanting to knock us in their place. But then the narrative changed after them and down the road, didn't it?
Well, that's it. We showed their quality, and some good new players showed how they can slice into this team and really be part of it. As Paul said, nice and cohesive and some great passing. Some great fluidity as well throughout the team, which is phenomenal to see. Again, touching on what Paddy said, it is pre-season. We're not going to take it as gospel or anything like that, but it's a good sign, I think, is the way that is what we take away from it.
Yes.
We're not sitting here saying, oh, well, we definitely need to be in the English Premier League and all that gumph, and lots of people will say it, but listen, it is what it is. We humped them, sent them up the road packing, as you say. And yeah, we couldn't have asked for more from our boys apart from that. So,
well, that's plenty of happy faces, plenty in the comments coming in now, plenty's joining in. Let us know what was your thoughts on the game, what's your thoughts on the rumours or the almost confirmed departures so far. Let us know, get them up. We'll try and get as many comments as we can. But before we do, as we always say, welcome back to the channel. If you're a returning subscriber, as it says along the bottom, thank you very much. If you're brand new, what are you doing? Hit subscribe. It costs you absolutely nothing. Helps us kick on. We're trying to hit 2,000 for the new season, and we're at that. We're touching distance. Help us do it. If you want to help us further, you can. $1.99 donation to the channel through the members, like the original, the bold 420 somewhere. Thanks to all of the members who are continually donating to the channel. Helps put it all together. And of course, you can get us an CW Pod 1888. We're on TikTok, Blue Sky, Spotify. You all know by now. But let's get down to business. Let's get some comments up and let's start talking. And we'll start with yourself, Paul. The game against Newcastle, we said it was going to be a level up. I thought that the run out against Sporting Lisbon, we came on here, we were waxing lyrical, as Paddy said, as Joe says, you caveat it. It's pre-season, let's not get carried away. But this was a level up again, and we just seemed to, I don't know, find the gears easier against Lisbon, against that. I know the first 2 games were kind of bedding in, the first ones out there, but it is early signs, but it makes you feel a wee bit better, does it not? Now, I'm not saying it means that we don't need players, because we do, but it makes you feel a bit better about things, doesn't it?
Definitely does. We'll still know the finished article, and we still know that we're a few kind of signings probably short in certain directions and certain positions, but even players that we've been kind of critical of, who I'm sure you guys will come on to discuss after I drop out in a wee while, but Austin Trusty, who seems to raise his game or be able to play better against, profile teams, as he's shown in the past. Inamura, again, continued to impress, especially when he's under pressure. He just seems so cool under pressure. Midfield, I mean, there was a lot of changes, obviously, as the game progressed. But to come out at home and control a game against a team that were a good package last year in the Premier League, and they obviously won the League Cup, they came up with a real bit of confidence. And as we well know, they were roundly beaten. The goals that we scored were fantastic. I thought the main thing for me was just the fluidity and the cohesion. We really did attack them, and we didn't let up, which is brilliant, because far too often you've seen this kind of routine where we drop back and we, start to calm the game down and just get the foot on the floor. And we certainly did that, and I was delighted to see it. The return of Tierney was just absolutely, it was quite emotional. I think he was quite emotional himself.
You tearing up, mate? You
was
tearing up for Tierney?
I was tearing up. It was great. His interview after it as well. He's just got such a Celtic, passion. You can see it. He's still there. But the goals were really well taken. I was impressed with Yang. I was impressed with Trusty. I was impressed with Big Scales. Got a goal. Putting himself in there. Defensively, still, got his kind of learning points. But overall, considering who we're up against, the amount of changes that had to be made in the game just to freshen things up, but the fluidity and the level of play and the intensity was fantastic, and a great result, thoroughly deserved. Could have been more.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, we'll pick through some of the action. Of course, we won't run through it, like a breakdown minute by minute. We're not going to do that. We'll do what we've done likewise against Sporting Lisbon. Want to concentrate more about the performances, guys. Want to talk about who stood out. Of course, there's 4 goals to speak about. We're not going to talk about them, right? But let's have a wee look. Let's have a gander. As we say, there was the starting lineup, and it's looking something a lot more familiar. It's good, Paddy, to see some youth on the bench, but also the big glaring one there will be young Dane Murray in there aside Trusty. Now, I'll throw it out early. I thought, actually, we were sitting on here questioning Trusty, weren't we, a wee while back. Yeah. But now I would actually go as far to say, for me, I would have given Trusty the man of the match. I don't know what it is. Maybe he just plays better against a higher calibre of opposition when there's a bit less time to think about it. I was impressed with him. And Inamura continues to shine. Engels came back in. I'm sure you'll have something to say about him in place of Negrin to start. The Yang Gang, is he going? Who knows? Because it was a good outing. And then, of course, my Idah, and plenty to talk about with Kenny. But a decent starting lineup there, Paddy. And as I say, I think that I'll give this a wee gander as well, just over there. This is how they lined up. Now, this is interesting. I just want to get us right out here nice and early, because we've all heard the narrative spin, haven't we? We all laughed at social media. They were coming up here, Farmers League, going to give us a tanking, 4-0, 3-0, 2-0, you name it, they were saying it. Now, they're looking at that team, and then the spin of, a Newcastle B-side. Well, I hate to break your story here for you, because I had a wee swatch, I had a wee look back at the tail end of the Premier League, and including the second half, where they brought in Dubravka, Lakels, Tonali, Gordon, their new signing, their very expensive new signing, Langa, White and Byrne. Well, guess what? They only had 4 players missing. Isak, Livramento, Longstaff and Beto. Guys who didn't play any part in this. That is pretty much, mate, their squad for the tail end of last season. Nothing's changed. That is Newcastle's team. And regardless of what I want to tell you about it, see that team?
It cost a lot of money.
It did. So, Paddy, get it. I'll say it. Get it right up them. Because
no,
it's just
mate,
another...
Straight for the start, you've seen the build-up in social media. I'm outside a bar, I won't give it the name, but everybody knows what pub they were outside. They were on the roof, they were setting off flares, they were giving it big licks with the others, and there was a lot of buses left for places like Larkhall and stuff with their Newcastle strips on, and do you know what? Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed your wee day at Paradise, because we certainly did. And the singing at the start very quickly got quietened, and that was down to the way Celtic were playing. The high press was brilliant. I just thought we started off with that mentality that Brendan's been going on about. We started with a high press, we started pushing them. We knew the danger men, and I thought we played relatively well in all positions. Like you commented about Austin Trusty there. Trusty for me was probably your man of the match, I would say. There was a few others that you could maybe look at, but Trusty, I thought, Did have a cracking game. It was nice to see Inamura again. Paul said about him. I don't know what the wee guy's doing, but he's just come in and hit the ground running. I think he's an incredible addition to the squad. I'm really, really happy with him. Yang, I think we do need to keep him now. I'm part of the Yang gang.
Oh,
yeah.
He's a card-carrying member of the Yang gang. I see you're fickle, mate. You just go with it, don't you?
Listen, I think he does. I think he's doing enough every game, isn't he? He's coming on, and like I said, he's quite happy to attack. He's quite happy and he gets in the box. So the link-up play between him and Kenny, and then obviously Hatate when he comes into the play and stuff as well, was absolutely brilliant. Engels, what did we do with the guy? 12 million. What did he do? I'm going to hang this price tag over his head.
Paddy's going in deep. He's going in deep. Let us know. Get in the comments. Is Paddy full of kick? What did you think of Arne Engels? Right, there's no doubt. I'm going to say it when I let you come in. I agree. I think that going forward, remainder of this pre-season and the first game of the season, I'll have Neger in and over the top of him all day.
100%.
But sorry, Paddy, go on, mate.
Yeah, listen, the guy takes a good penalty and he'll score a lot of penalties.
It was a great penalty.
He'll do stuff like that. And other than that, I didn't really see much from him. And I'm holding the price tag over him because we're bringing in guys there for 150 grand. I mean, Inamura, it's a different position, of course, but look what he's gave the squad so far. And to me, that's more than what we've seen for Engels over the full of last season. He's just basically not really done much for me at all. I know he's a world-class player. We've said it. We've said there's definitely there. He's got the potential, but I've not seen it. I want to see more.
Sorry, there was a tackle just kind of the first 10 minutes of the game. The ball broke out, and it was a chance for us to get a foot on the ball and go up the part and press and really start to put what we did obviously going to do and really put a wee marker down in the game. And he shot out a tackle, which would really surprised me. I thought, you had your pre-season now. This is all starting your build-up, and go in there and win that ball like a young, fit international player should be doing. And he kind of shied out it, but I don't know.
See, the Rangers fans were on about Raskin taking his position for the Belgium squad. Now, if that's a 50-50 challenge, friendly or not, Raskin's taking that boy out.
Oh, you're going in. You're souring the mood nice and quick, Paddy.
Well, he is though. I'm just saying, like, Arne Engels for me really needs to get the finger out. For me, he needs to show. You want your midfielders to win the ball. You want them to keep the ball. You want to be able to pass the ball. I've not really seen much of that from him.
Yeah.
Well, for me, that's where Nygren's going to take over. 100%. Like Nygren's going to take over that position from him and show his worth in terms of his cost to his value. So yeah, I think he's going to embarrass Engels a little bit. I am sort of on the fence about Engels, always have been and always will be. But yeah, I don't think he's a bad player, like you say, Paddy. He's a great international player, but he really needs to pull the finger out if he's going to do anything at all.
Well, the thing is been said here, as Wilson saying, not really a bad player yesterday, in my opinion. Yes, some things were lacking, Paddy. Engels might be the one that's lacking, but for me, guys, not a bad performance for any of the guys. I felt that we really, really stepped up. The pace was there, the tempo was there, and it was good to see that, as we said, a wee bit of rotation. I want to start with some of the performances. Inamura, let's just get straight in about it. I know we'll come to yourself, Paul, because we know, as I say, you've been waxing lyrical about a lot of the Japanese guys over time. I know that you keep an eye on that sort of side of the market and things. You're quite an interest in that. Is he going to be the surprise package now? And with that, I'm saying, yes, I'm all for it. If he can show that level of consistency and be a real bona fide option to Tierney to rotate game to game, I'm all here for it. But that doesn't take my eyes off the ball that says we also need to get somebody in. But the young lad, maybe physicality slightly lacking. But other than that, well, maybe it just goes to show that we can't judge a book by his cover. Team that were cannon fodder in the league. It comes to plays like that.
The focus for the players from Asia is all about the fitness, as we've seen with Dyson and his press-ups in the dress and the dugout and stuff like that. They really do focus so much on agility and really honing in on the fundamentals of what makes a good footballer. And he looks as if he's obviously, despite his kind of lean kind of stature, his determination his heart during the games I've seen him speaks volumes for him. I'm really impressed with how he is under pressure, and he's got a wee bit of pace, like up and down the wing. But he'll be aware of the fact, and we should be aware of the fact that we still, should have cover in there. But he's done his chances absolutely no harm at all. Every game we've seen him playing, and it is only pre-season, so it's worth a gamble of keeping him in the squad. I don't think he should be punted out in any of the games that we've seen him so far. The evidence is there that he'll do pretty well.
Definitely. I mean, I just think that when we look at him, see the things that we thought with Kobayashi, where we say he's comfortable with all his feet. He's got a good range of passing. Yes, he does have them. I will caveat, I still think at times I've seen him shoulder to shoulder. That's something that could be getting worked upon. Talking about that, look at Dane Murray. He's turned into a big stratum lad, isn't he? He's a guy that's been hitting the gym. He's a guy who's been putting himself together. So that it's good to see that. If Inamura can work on that wee bit of extra strength to go with his conditioning, then I think it could really, really work. He seems, Joe, to just have a really good positional sense of where he needs to be, to drop back, to mop up, to cover. Now, I've seen a lot of comments on social media saying that, we're sitting waxing lyrical about a 4-0, but what about the deficiencies? What about the amount of times that such and such a player ran by Trusty, or the amount of times that they pinned his back when we tried to play it for the back? Yes, nothing is perfect. That's what pre-season's here to do, isn't it? It's to iron out the creases. But the early signs for Inamura, and I'm going to throw that in together, and the early signs for Murray, it's good to see genuine young players, brought in or not, that you actually think they could play a part going forward.
Well, Brendan said last season, what he'd really like to see for Dane Murray is, a bit of a bulk up, a bit more performance out of him, that physicality, as you say, getting into our players. That's exactly what he's done. Dane Murray's done what he said was going to happen. He stuck to Brendan Rodgers' word and said, right, that's it, I'm going to hit the gym, get my physicality up and go for it. And I think he's proved that. And see, in all honesty, see if that starting 11 came out against pretty much any team in Scotland, I'd be happy with it. I'd be happy with that starting 11 going, do you know what? Strong squad. Good with that. Yep. Kenny right up front. Idah supporting. Fantastic. Let's go. I'd be more than happy with that showing out. So, I think that proves it and will show for a lot of our players as well.
And that's not, I'm not calling you out on it, but I'll be honest, I think that's bold. I think that's bold to say that if that started in the opening day, that I would necessarily be happy, overjoyed about it. It's a good enough squad to take care of those kind of games, I would imagine. Yeah, if you remove somebody like Idah for there, you maybe then start to have question marks and worry.
You question it, yeah.
You do. And I think it's how quickly are we going to get back Alistair Johnson. I really want to see him getting some fitness up and getting even a wee bit of game time, some bounce matches or whatever. Game against Ajax, this Como Cup. I want to see him starting to feature because I liked what I saw at Ralston yesterday, but we also spoke about deficiencies in the game against Sporting Lisbon. There's many moving parts to it. I just feel that it's a good trial and error phase for us. But somebody get how quickly can we get Carter Vickers back? What is his progress? Are we going to go and get another centre half? Are we going to go and get another left back and potentially cover for right back? There's many to do, but no, I agree with what you're saying. And by large, Joe,
well, that's it. If they came out with that starting 11 against Hearts in the middle of November, brilliant. No bother. Perfect. I'll take that any day of the week.
What about yourself? Anything you would preferably change for that? If you had your way. Joe, if you had your way.
If I had my way, the only one that I would be, as I say, sceptical about would be Engels. But I don't think that he had a performance where I could say definitively, no, kick him out. He didn't deserve to be there or anything along those kind of lines. I would have liked to have seen more of Negrin, but because he's a new signing, I want to get the minutes in his legs and I want to see what he can really do when he's got a really, really fluid and cohesive team behind him as well. When the passing's great, when they're really at the top of their game pretty much as well. I'd like to see what the performance from Negrin could be. So that would be the kind of switch out I would make there, if anything at all. I was happy with Ralston. And I said it for majority of last season as well. Anytime that he came in, I actually wasn't really disappointed in him or anything like that. I thought to myself, do you know what? He's had a good game pretty much every time. So good on him. Well done to him for keeping up the physicality as well at his age. Hats off to him because it's difficult.
Yeah. Well, Paddy, there's a lot of praise coming in for the various players. Inamura is getting widely across the sort of comments, is getting rightfully so, plenty of praise, as is young Dane Murray. I'm just going to bring it back to you because this is what this podcast is all about. I'm just going to fire and letting you off the hook. We know that it's a pre-season. I agree, by the way, with a lot of the commenters that say, you were maybe a wee bit, in my opinion as well, perhaps harsh on the Engels, where he says about snapping the tackles and stuff. Yeah, I would argue that in a genuine, real game. I don't want to see that. I want to see a competitive edge in pre-season, but I don't want people flying at 50-50s. Absolutely not. See if you want to ballet dance around them. I'm all for it. I don't want any injuries there. And as I say, it's a mixed reaction. This is your prerogative to be there. I'm not setting you up to get battered around with the comments, but what I am saying is a lot of people disagreeing with you, and rightfully so. I think that Engels did show a lot last season. We said once he gets a full pre-season under his belt, then we should expect to see the best out of him. Honestly, did I think yesterday that he was particularly bad? No, I didn't. Did I think that after what we saw from Nygren and really sitting there as a player be thinking my place could be in jeopardy, did I think that he lifted it enough to sort of oust Nygren going forward? No, I didn't. So maybe that's what you're saying, Paddy. But let's talk about some of the positivities.
Put it out there. Nobody wants this guy to succeed more than me. Right? I know the potential must be there. We're not going to spend 12 million on a player of that age for him to be garbage. Now, there's obviously been something there. There's obviously been a lot of potential. It was breaking into the Belgium squad and things like that. And you heard Martinez and stuff talking about him, saying that he was an incredible player. And that's what I want. I want him to be that incredible player. And it's so frustrating as a Celtic fan watching him week in, week out, just fade in and out of games.
Mm-hmm.
When there's players,
you don't want him to be mediocre.
Surely this is positivity competition. Surely this is now where we'll start to see the fruits of these guys, because, I mean, look at Bernardo, for example, a guy that we love, but see Bernardo at this moment in time, Bernardo's a ghost. He's a spectator. Not garbage, he's a spectator.
Well, you look at that midfield, and Engels must be looking at Nygren when he comes on and goes, right, yeah, I need to up my game. Then Bernardo will be looking at that and going, right, I need to up my game. If these people are going to want to play, I mean, Hatate as well, I mean, he's been playing pretty well. I sing his praises almost every week, but he's been playing well pre-season. So these players must be looking at it for the sidelines, and they have to up their game. And that's what you want. Competition's good. Yeah. I just want all the players to be singing for the same hymn sheet and playing for the same cause.
Yeah. What about yourself, Paul? Engels and the likes, he's not really been a guy that we've come on to here. We mentioned before, we always talk about this, the fee. Inamura's a prime example so far that fee goes for absolutely nothing. There's surprise packages there, but is it time that we start, and I know it's hard, is it time that we start removing the fee, taking that hat off, and just basing it on simply the play, no matter who you are in that Celtic squad?
As a young player, this is obviously his first, major move with that kind of money involved. So he will be aware of that as well. And maybe to an extent, that's kind of like a bit of a millstone around his neck. I'm hoping that this season, and I'm staying confidently kind of optimistic, that this season he will thrive, as one of the comments says. He's got the pre-season under him. He's had a bit of a time to adapt to the Scottish game. He's had a wee bit of exposure in Europe as well. I'm hopeful that, again, as somebody else was pointing out, there's other players around about him that can bring him on. But he's got to do it himself. He's a big boy. He's not a boy that's just breaking through from the B team. He's got a bit of clout about him now. He's in the international setup.
Yes.
I think it will. I think it will just hopefully click into place this season, but it will be a bit confidence with him as well. And it maybe will just be that he's still adapting, but this is the season where he really should kick on, and I'm hopeful we can see it. Time will tell.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Time will tell. In terms of before we start getting into some of the action, because I'm seeing a lot of people are mentioning it. Again, I'm just going to start saying it right now. Chalk and cheese. 2 strikers, Paddy. Kenny, again, I thought he shows enough. I think between the Lisbon game, between what we saw the end of last season and what we saw yesterday, Kenny looks like a guy who can contribute. Now, the big question is going to be, we saw Shin Yamada on the pitch. He gets unveiled. Lovely. So with Maeda, Idah, Shin, the manager's still cracking on, by the way, about wanting to get another striker.
Yeah.
He's still saying it. You've got Osmond, and then you have got Johnny Kenny. That is a lot of guys there now. I put out a comment on our social media saying, why can't we just keep hold of these guys and rotate them week to week? 1 week you're in the squad, next week you're out the squad, so on and so forth. Keep them about and use them, because I would rather look at my bench and have potential strikers than some of the guff that we had to put up with last season. Of course, if we go out, we buy different positions, that will completely change. And then, yeah, you might need to thin the herd a wee bit. Folk were getting excited. We were speaking positively, Osmond, but is Kenny a sleeper, Paddy? Is he really genuinely a sleeper? Like, what does he have to do to stick about at Celtic next season and not get farmed out on loan ahead of, for talking's sake, Shin or Osmond? What does he have to do? Because he's bloody proven a point to me.
Keep doing what he's doing. You seen him, like you said, his turn of pace is incredible. He's got a decent turn of pace about him. He looks strong. He was holding off defenders. He anticipated, obviously, the ball that Casper kicks out that Nick Pope has a wee
shocker.
Aye. So he anticipates that. He's running in. He's putting him under pressure. And you wouldn't always get that. For strikers, they see the ball come over the top and go, it's a ball in on, basically, and leave it. Mm-hmm. But he anticipates it and he goes for it, and it's nice to see that. He comes short, he takes the ball, he's not afraid to get involved, he goes out to the wings and stuff like that. So for me, he is doing quite a lot. Idah had a few chances. Again, not going to get on the guy's back, but
Paddy,
he needs to do a bit better for me.
I'll bring up some Idah-based comments and you guys can jump in.
I was going to say, if you're not going to get on his back, I will, 100%, because he was just garbage. He tried to catch a deflection ball and control it and managed to knock it 20 feet in front of himself in the middle of the park. Yep. You're going, what are you doing? You're a striker. You're meant to be someone who can control the ball at any given pace, at any given time, and put it in one spot. And he couldn't even do that in an empty park. So, is Adam
Idah in crisis? Is he in crisis
100%.
In terms of a personal crisis? I don't mean like he's having troubles at home or anything. I just mean, is he in a professional crisis at this moment in time? Because listen,
he's under threat.
The comments are alive. We dare I say it? No, we don't want to hear it. Negativity, or how would we say it? Pessimistic outlooks on him. He hasn't. We were saying, give him the pre-season, get him in there.
Yep.
But nothing's changed. Nothing's changed.
20 goals last season.
Oh, sorry, what's that, brother?
He got 20 goals last season.
Aye. The guy, he's a battering ram. His physique, he should be bossing the likes of that game yesterday. Do you know?
Aye.
Don't see it. I'm not seeing it at all.
To have had, though, 3 massive opportunities within 9 yards of the goal, and missed every single one. It's not good enough.
I understand that, and obviously you want your striker to be finishing them, especially when it's like balls across the box and things like that. But you look at his minutes to his goals last season, and it's actually decent. So I'm not going to jump on him for that. I really can't.
No, I totally understand that, and I totally get that. And when people comment in the comment section saying that, I know I'm being harsh. I absolutely am, but I don't care anymore. I'm done making excuses for him. I really am. I'm just done making excuses for him, because what's the point? He keeps disappointing us every time. We were already 2-0 up. We didn't need the extra goals. I get that, but it'd have been nice to have. And he should have had 3 in. So there's no excuse, because any other striker in our team would have put them in.
I don't know if it's mentality. If the heat goes down with him, we've all played fives. We've played football with that guy that misses a chance and just goes in a huff, and the heat goes down for the rest of the game. For a young player with the experience that he's got as well, he should really be grabbing a game like yesterday with the scruff of the neck and throwing the gauntlet down to Brendan Rodgers and saying, I want to be a number 9. That's what I was saying after the Lisbon game.
It's not just that; he should have been proving himself to the EPL as well.
Yep.
That was part of his chance to prove himself to the EPL. You know that every single time that a pre-season friendly comes about. Mm-hmm. Prove yourself, and if you want the bigger move and you want to be still worth your £9 million or whatever at some point, then do it properly. Mm-hmm. But he couldn't even pull that off. So no, I'm in a way totally done with him, and I know people will think I'm harsh at saying that, but I just am.
Here's the thing, right? You say that, and it is true. I can already sense that the comments that will be left after the live feed will be negative and giving up, right? And I get it, I really do. And believe me, as Paddy said regarding Engels and stuff, we don't take any level of pleasure, believe it or not. We don't want to sit here and tear into Celtic players. We don't want to tear into anything if we can help it. Any negatives, we don't want to highlight negatives about the club. We'd rather everything was brilliant. But as we say a million times, and it will be our catchphrase, we judge on what we saw on the period there with our eyes, on that 90 minutes, that 45 minutes, whatever it is the player gets, and we'll talk about it in that light. Now, yes, we'll always hope that they kick on, but I must be honest, and the commenters are saying the exact same thing here. The clock's ticking for a lot of people here. A lot of people, even McLaughlin, he's bringing Engels in there as well. He's saying he's got to November now. I did say that rings true to what I was thinking as well, particularly with Idah. I says, I will give Idah until December to have really done something. And I've liked Engels by the whole, but by December, I want to see better than last season as well, right? That's where I'm at with both these big money buys. But Idah, I'm struggling, guys. I'm really, really struggling. I am struggling to find any positives in him, mate. Any positives.
The end of last season there, all four of us sat there and said, listen, I'm really excited to see Idah get a pre-season under him and see where he goes and see how he does. And I think he can turn us around. You know, let's be hopeful and everything like that. We were a little bit critical at times when bad performances came through, of course, as you have to be, and you have to be sort of... you have to be impartial with these things as well, you know. So we picked on him sometimes, we built him up other times. But by now, he's got this pre-season under him, and I just don't see an improvement anywhere. I don't see his control getting better. I don't see his spatial awareness getting better. I don't see his even his tackling and everything like that. I don't see any of it improved at all. And I go, well, what was the point?
Is he a fit? Is he a fit?
Well, Paul, can I chuck this at you that Slabber Cowish off that name by was thrown at it? He's saying almost like we need to handle Idah with kid gloves, right? We need to, maybe he's been thrust into something. Well, potentially, aye, but he was thrust into the loan, wasn't he, Paul? And he done all right there.
Yep.
So what is it? Is this just very much a player who is by nature inconsistent? He knew what he was getting into when he signed him.
He was somebody that came in talking about, you know, he saw himself as a player that was ready to make this move. Mm-hmm. Well, you've got the stadium there yesterday. You know, you've got everything set up. You're playing against, you know, a high level opposition. You've had chances, same as he had chances before. I scored in another pre-season game way back, but in this pre-season period, you know, he should really be, as I say, throwing down the gauntlet. But I'm just not seeing the level, his body language. And I know I try not to be this body language, but it just looks slumped every interview.
There's nothing wrong with saying that. See the body language thing.
Aye.
Folk, I said this before on the show. Folk slaughter that. They slaughter it. But if it was me that was looking that way, you'd say something wrong with Steve-O. He's decision on the game.
Maybe there is. Maybe there is something there that does need addressed. Maybe there is other things going on in his life. You know, he's had his wee off the park moment when he was over in Dublin. I think he's back in Dublin tonight. I hope he's at training tomorrow. But I don't know. It just seems to be that he just needs to come out and show us what he's got.
Aye, they don't get on. 20
goals there. Do you know what I mean? 20 goals last season.
Don't ask him to pay the bill and don't ask him to score the goals because he might not want to do either.
He can do it, but what he's got to realise is, as a Celtic striker, you can't just turn it on and off when you want to. It needs to be consistent. And it needs to be there for all to see.
See, on that, Paul, there was I was actually quoted. Adam Idah was quoted, right, saying that he believes that he can score in around about 30 goals next season. Now, John Hartson, a guy who knows what it's all to take about playing for Celtic, came out and says, well, he's got to put his money where his mouth is. Now, again, I just get around the screen, start with yourself, Gojo, and then up to Paddy. Guys,
I want to make a point on
bold
that, right?
claims. Do you think he's got? I know he had 20 goals last season, so you could say, well, aye, he could do it. But realistically, do you see him as being a 25 goal plus striker next season, Paul?
At the moment, no. But I've been proved wrong in the past, and I have seen players turn it around in the past. So as it stands at the minute, I'm not seeing it, and I think that's a commonly kind of felt, opinion. But I am more than happy to be proved wrong. He's going to have games where he'll get plenty of time on the park in big games, European qualifiers, etc. For that type of system that we're playing now, he's going to be constantly supplied. Shows what you've got.
Well, Joe, I can see you're champing at the bit. Are you here to deal out a harsh judgment? Are you here to sentence him to Celtic football and death?
A bit of both, right? I'll tell you. If Idah scores 30 plus goals this season, I make this promise to every single person watching.
You'll shave your head?
No, I will physically eat this tap. I'll cut it up into bits. I'll physically eat every single bit of it, swallow it, and
I love high stakes.
Back out again, right? That is how confident I am that he will not score 30 plus goals in the season. No chance in hell. I think he'll come around the 17 to 20 mark again at best, and that's if he plays a lot of minutes.
Paddy?
Going forward, right, if Idah is going to be our number one striker, and he's going to be the person who's starting games, like I said before, if you look at his goals to minutes ratio for his 20 goals, it's up there with the best. And as ridiculous as that sounds, if he gets the minutes, he'll get the goals. So listen, if he gets enough playtime on the park, I think he will get plus 30 this year. Yeah.
Well, I've eaten my tap then.
Right. So whilst you're on the positive, tell me how many goal contributions then is Engels going to contribute? Because I'm putting you in the spot, like he's going to do that, right? You can't have it one way or another.
Obviously includes goals, so the guy takes a very, very good penalty. There's a good bit of praise for Arnie Engels, and you heard.
I was going to say, how many penalties we're going to have in the season? That's the real question.
Well, that's it. We've got VAR and we've got a lot of quick players, so hopefully we get a few of them. Listen, Engels has got a good eye for a pass. I don't think he'll be taking a lot of free kicks if we're going to have Nigrin on the park, because he seemed to be the guy who takes the ball and decides that it's now his, and he's taking all the free
even
kicks.
Though he done fuck all. Well, I like that.
Yeah, I like the confidence there. If Engels again, if he's going to get the minutes on the park, which I believe he will, because you're not going to spend that money for a player who you don't have a lot of faith in, I think he'll get upwards of 25, 30 goal contributions.
Well, here's something I want to bring in for Brown Warrior, and I've seen a few folks saying this, right? And I do agree that when Nigrin was on with Idah, he was finding him quite regularly, and there was a good sort of supply to him. Right. It does bode well. Paul's obviously, as you know, he said at starts had to drop out, guys, just to thank you, Paul. We'll catch up with him at some point through the week. I just want to comment on us, guys, right? We'll start with yourself, Paddy, because we're up there, right? Yes, it does bode well if Idah could control the ball, carry the ball, and do all this stuff with the ball when it comes to him. Now I know that's I'm being a bit unfair there, but it's not for my opinion, it's not about supply either. It's about the all-round functioning parts of his game, the touch, the technical ability, in my opinion. And I'm just an armchair guy. All right, played football, we all did, played amateur and stuff like that. No cracking up, I'm a brilliant player, far from it. But sometimes you can just look at players and say, you just don't have that. You don't have that deft touch. You don't have that, footwork. That's my concern. You can supply him all day long, but it's that killer instinct, it's that deft touch, it's that finish. The prime example was the ball that was on a plate against Lisbon, and he shanks it, shin and knee.
I know.
That's eye to foot coordination, and he just and if we can somehow drill that into him, then I agree, it does bode well. But it's no good firing in hundreds of brilliant balls to guys who can do it. So like, but that's my Idah. You just put brilliant balls into him, and he just blowing them into the stand.
I know, exactly.
They worked on it.
Idah's, for me, he's a very instinctive player, and we spoke about that. We covered the game after the Aston Villa game. If you think back, Steve, on the Champions League, when he scored the 2 goals, 2 incredibly instinctive finishes, and it's because he didn't have a chance to think about it. He didn't have a chance to realise what he was doing. Really, the ball was there, and he seen it, and it was bang. If we can get a more instinctive Adam Idah, then we're going to see a hell of a lot from him. I really do.
But don't you think the opportunities yesterday were instinctive opportunities? Because I do. They were all within 9 yards or something like that, Paddy. I mean, come on. How much more instinctive can you get? A lot of us would have
here's
put that
the
in
thing.
and
I
you'd
just
crap.
bring that back in. We bring round what Brown's saying. He shanked because his time's off, but that is the problem, Brown. That's the bit that I've got the problem with. It's technique. You can work in technique till the cows come home in training.
Yep.
But it just doesn't seem to be happening. I want him to do well. I really genuinely want the big man to do well.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is the problem is there's so many different facets of his game that need work. It's not like he's just no fit, or he's just no that type of player. He will never have brilliant speed. It's speed, it's control, it's touch, it's eye to foot coordination. It's multiple things.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot.
But they're all workable.
But of course, everything's workable. But that's the problem I've got. That's the concerns I've got for him. Is he has every single bit the developmental player when we don't need that. Now I know that we'll get on to Shin Yamada and stuff, but we need to get in another bona fide striker. Now folk will, and I know Browns doesn't think highly of Kyogo, but just using him as an example, Kyogo had these things to his game that Idah doesn't. Yeah, he wasn't brilliant all the time, but that's all I'm saying. There's so many parts of Idah's game that need worked on. See if it was one, maybe two things, then you could really be super optimistic that would go up to speed quickly. But there's so many different things that you're just like, right, how do we fix this? Is that fair?
100%.
Listen, on the Adam Idah thing, I really just think that he needs to get back to the Adam Idah that we had during pre-season. Not during pre-season, sorry, back when he was on loan.
Can I just jump us in? It's fair play. Do not give the guy abuse. He is fair. But Ben, listen, nobody's saying we've accomplished anything. All we're saying is despite a few players, that was your team and your team.
It cost a lot of money.
You know, that's that. That's where we're at, brother.
Exactly. It was a long way home for Celtic Park to Newcastle the other night, wasn't it? Especially on that bus coming up here to play a team in the Farmers League. So I hope you enjoyed it, mate. We certainly did. And I hope you get top 5 next year.
And see, sorry, Wilson, but I took you off I took the ball off your foot talking about Idah. Brown's followed up and saying a lot of game time fixes problems, but therein also lies another problem. Mm-hmm. Can you continually go to that well, hoping that it clicks? Yeah.
Well, that's it. It's a perseverance, isn't it? You stick with the main guy. He should be your number one striker. We've paid the money for him. So, in my opinion,
can you afford
to do it?
Can you afford, though, to be losing out on possibly 2 goals per match until he comes up to speed?
Probably.
I just don't think you can. How can you? Do you know what I mean? You can't. Not in Scotland, because we know who's going to be hot on our heels.
Right, guys.
Simple as that.
I'm doing this.
Close the book on that. Let's carry on. Yep.
Shelf, we could talk about Idah all day long. I don't want it. I'm sure you people out there don't want to talk about it anyway. Let's get the positivity train running again.
Yes, indeed.
Many good ones, right? And I'll just walk through it. Let's go with Yang. Just straight in with Yang. There's been interest in Yang. We sat here in the other show and says, where are we at you with Yang? This is another enigma. Paddy, some of the commenters are saying, yeah, great performance, capitalise, it makes him look better, sell him, try and get in better. Or do you keep him about? The manager, as we say, he seems to be the CEO, the president of the Yang Gang, because he keeps going to that well and keeps giving him a chance.
Exactly. And we've seen that before with Brendan. Jamesy Forrest was that guy for Brendan a few years back. Brendan Rodgers Mark 1, and he always went back, and it was James Forrest was coming in. And there's a lot of fans back then going, what does he see in him? What does he see in Jamesy Forrest? And then you would get the results, you would get the positives, and it started to come. Now, listen, Yang doesn't have the best game every single time, but you know what you get with the young guy. He's coming on, and he's a positive player. He likes to drive forward. He likes to play about with the ball, and he's got a decent delivery on him. He comes up with a few goals here and there. For me, he's a decent enough player. Sometimes it's better the devil you know.
I'll be honest with you guys, I'm still not convinced. I think if we can clean our nose or extract a small profit out of it, I'd let Yang move on. I'm being ruthless here. I thought that yesterday he had a decent outing. But again, similar to Idah. Well, in fact, no, not similar to Idah. Not similar to Idah. Because there's inconsistencies in both their games. However, on the balance of chances, yes, Idah will score goals and say, well, that's his job. What do you want, Steve-O? But in terms of all-round contributions, the purple patches of Yang were more exciting than the purple patches of Idah for me.
Yeah, no, I would 100% agree with that, because I think, but I'm more leaning towards the Yang gang than what you are.
I'm not on
because
the Yang gang.
That's what I'm saying. I'm leaning towards it. I'm still on the fence overall, but no, I'm thinking to myself, no, let's not get rid of him. I think he's coming along very, very well. I think he's really hungry for it, which I love. I love to see a hungry player, and for me, that was one of the reasons that I fell in love with Forest all those years, and still am. Absolutely, I don't deny that. But I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. Will you try to say there's something wrong with that, Barry?
There's nothing wrong. James Forrest is an amazing player, an amazing servant.
Exactly.
And he's got,
I think
he's also got a lot more handsome in his older age. You remember his wee spotty one guy? So there you go. Joe, I'll defend you. It's fine, brother. Don't you worry.
Mate. Thank you. But no, I think that Yang's developing really, really well. And he's learning to get on with the midfield a lot better as well. Him and Hatate, him and Engels have really got quite a good communication between each other as well. So no, I'm happy for Yang to stick around. I'm sure some will agree, some will disagree, but that's just the way it's going to be. I don't think he should be going anywhere. I don't think we should be trying to eke, a 2-3 million profit out of him. I just don't think that little of money is worth it anyway, to let go someone that we know we're going to get a relatively consistent performance from.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. And there's a few coming in. Welcome, Typhoon McFlustery. I love the names. And he says, what do we think of Inamura? We covered that earlier. We did. So if you wind it back, we were singing the praises of Inamura. And thank you. Yes, thank you. I'm looking well, although I'm shot to pieces still. In my recovery, I feel like my leg has been shot. I've never been shot in the leg, but I'm pretty sure the soreness of that in my back is no far off getting shot, but thank you, I appreciate it. So guys, listen, let's talk about some of the action. We spoke about some of the performances. Paddy, we get those goals right now. I want to bring this up just for reference. Now, I know it's the full game, but I want to bring this up for reference. Celtic proved that they played well, because here is the start attack on the game there. Now have a look at it. The blue, it shows pretty much their side of things, and a lot of it, they're more most of the metrics, to be fair to them. That's because why? Because they're a quality team. They're not a B-side. They're not a boys' club. Decent. They do us on shots, even though they don't score any. Shots in target, they do. Don't score any. Possession, the outpasses, that's a rarity at Celtic Park. Pass accuracy, we're about the same. Of course, there's a bit more fouls. But the point I'm trying to make here is it was a competitive game. It was a team that were coming at us. It was a team that, despite the scoreline, were very much in it. They just didn't have that killer edge. We get the penalty. It's a stone waller, isn't it, to begin with, Paddy?
Yeah, 100%. It's great play going into the box by Kenny, and there's not really much the defender can do, is there?
Oh my God, William Evans. Say bye-bye to William Evans. Bye. It's the usual revert to child abuse when you don't like the scoreline. Horrible people. If you honestly want to come on to anything like this and come away with that kind of garbage, not just this, you want to come on to any platform, any social gathering, any single place that you want to talk about that stuff, you're a wrong'un. You need to be having a word with yourself. That's absolutely shameless stuff. Anyway, bye-bye. We don't need to worry about him. Paddy, back to the football, not the nonsense.
Stonewaller. Who else was going to take it but the main man, Arne Engels?
It's a great penalty. It's absolutely
fantastic. I seen a thing. I was flying through TikTok earlier, and it was a watch along by 2 Newcastle fans, and they're sitting there.
It's great. And go and seek it out.
He scores it, and the guy goes, "Oh yeah, it's a goal for Celtic." Never heard of the guy that scores it. 1-0, and you can tell that the rage is just hanging right out of the guy. And listen, fantastic penalty. Nick Pope's a genuinely really good goalkeeper.
Excellent goalkeeper.
Number 1 at one point. But Listen, fantastic
But he
finish.
he doesn't get near that penalty. It's right. I like to see the penalty right in the side net, and that's what we need. A wee bit of conviction. He had 1 or 2 dodgy penalties, but that's
You
what
look
I'm
at Hatate's penalty against Sporting. It was an absolute howler. It's direct in line with the keeper. It's the same way as the keeper. It's basically, he's so lucky it goes in. Engels keeps the head up. He's very like Yaya Toure taking penalties. The head's up all the way, watching the keeper as he runs up to take the penalty. And 9 times out of 10, he puts the keeper the wrong way. So we'll give him that.
Well, Nick Pope is a good goalkeeper, but Joe, he didn't look like too smart a goalkeeper from, let's face it, something very un-Celtic, a complete shelled up the top. You know, Casper saves and all that, but he also sets up, apparently.
That's it. Do you know what it is? It really, really surprised me, Pope. I had him, for instance, in my dream team on the PL app. I don't know if anyone else does that. I know, Paddy, you do. Steve, I think you do as well. You do the sort of dream team on the Premier League app and everything like that. I had Pope in my dream team last year, and he done phenomenally well for me, you know, and you know, I've always praised him as a really good goalkeeper, but no, he just had an absolute howler, terrible day in the office. Whereas, and I was going to mention it just a wee bit earlier, but we were in the middle of something. Schmeichel and Sinisalo, fantastic performances from the lads.
Great saves.
Like, phenomenal.
See, whilst we're talking goalkeepers, I want to keep you on
them.
that vein there. What did you think? Because I'm a big Casper Schmeichel fan, right?
Yep.
But I'll be honest, I'm getting increasingly worried about his distribution.
I said this last year. See, last year, whenever he injured himself, or last season, sorry, when he injured himself, and Sinisalo came in, I said the exact same at the time, that his distribution hasn't been fantastic. It's in one of our previous videos, and that Sinisalo has absolutely proved himself, and I wanted to see more of Sinisalo in the pre-season anyway. So I am happy that he's had the sort of half and half break at least, and I hope that Brendan really takes advantage of him this season. I really, really do, because I think that he's came on leaps and bounds, and he's done a fantastic job so far. And he's more than proved himself, I think, as well. Up against some of the biggest names and biggest teams, I think he's more than proved himself. So I'd be happy for Sinisalo to be in almost any starting team.
Yeah.
I'd be quite happy going forward with Casper Schmeichel's in the big games like your league and your Champions League, and then the cups.
I think we need to rotate, because it's the last season of Casper Schmeichel. We need to get Sinisalo ready. I would personally split the cups. Yeah. I would give the first League Cup phase solely to Sinisalo, and then I would split the Scottish Cup between the two of them and roll it over. As you says, you don't want to chop and change too often, but I would probably say I would give maybe Sinisalo 1 game in 4, something like that. And bring him in, or do the unfashionable thing that managers don't often like doing. If Celtic are winning, let's just say for talk's sake 2-0 at half time, switch goals at half time.
Yeah, 100%. I would agree with you on that. Yeah, because I don't see a reason as to why as well. I don't see any reason as to why you wouldn't.
He needs some more game time, because he will be the new goalkeeper going forward. This is the last.
And Schmeichel, let's be real about it. Schmeichel is getting up there. We all know that. He's came here for his kind of retirement years. You know, but he's done a fantastic job for us. Hats off to him. What an athlete as well that he's proved himself to be over the years and for our time with us. So thank you very much, Michael, as well.
Yeah. Oh, he's not dead.
He's not. I know he's not.
It's not a eulogy.
A cross in his top.
I know. It's a wee reference to music saves. Come on now. Anyway, it's a good T-shirt. Come buy it. Support them. Anyway, so we get to half time. We're cruising. Let's not kid ourselves on, because this team, remember this team that were a B team, they hit the panic button. They bring on Tierney, they bring on Gordon, they bring on Alanga, they bring on Byrne, they bring on the reinforcements. They're not playing. They bring in the ones linked with Celtic Dubravka. And that's the thing. They up our game. We don't make our changes to 63 minutes. And it's our after changes. But by that point, well, the game's pretty much gone for Newcastle. I don't think at any point they look at it there. I mean, look at the amount of changes that we bring off. Ralston, Trusty, Murray. Again, we just skimmed over him. I thought Murray gave an excellent account of himself. Maeda just done Maeda things. Engels, McGregor, steady. McCown, I felt McCown was quiet in the game, guys. We've not really touched on him.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Then we get some guys. Good to see Bernardo back in there. We've spoke about Idah. We don't need to rattle on about him, but those guys there, was there anybody in that second half that really done it for you lads?
For me, Hatate and Benjamin Negrin were fantastic. Young lad Donovan as well, I thought played really well, as did McPherson. I thought they held it really well. I liked a bit as well. There's a picture going around and it's Anthony Ralston basically throwing Anthony Gordon out of the way. And it's got a reference to Karate Kid because he's got the wee band round his hair.
What was going on with that? I mean, it was on brand with the Adidas, but what on earth was going on with that big gigantic headband?
No idea, mate. No idea. Maybe a Todd Cantwell fan. Maybe he's want to come to Celtic Park and cause a bit of stuff. But yeah, Tony Ralston put him right in his place. Just basically bombarded him right out of the park, as the Bricky always does.
It's a classic, isn't it? It's a brilliant.
He's absolutely fantastic, mate. And we've spoken about Tony Ralston and that kind of stuff before. You know what you get with him. He's 110% every single time. I said about the young lad McPherson, going forward, confident on the ball, good passer of the ball. Yeah, that's the picture there. Absolutely fantastic. Look at that. Out the way, Karate Kid or something. It says it's something like that. It's absolutely brilliant.
Gordon on, Gordon off, aye.
Aye, exactly. That's it. And out doing the hokey cokey, innit? But then, listen, Rio Hatate, again, I don't know how many times I've been on here singing praises about the guy. It just looked as if he had all the time in the world. Every time he got the ball, he turned with it. He had the head up. I don't know if he made a bad pass. He was
say bye-bye, everyone.
pretty much on the ball. I was pretty impressed with that. Who else did we say? Bernardo, again, come in and done Bernardo things. He was decent. He broke up the play, a couple of passes here and there. It was positive, mate. All positive going forward for me for there.
It was. And then even that third goal in particular, that just epitomised what we want to do. It was a quick turnover. It was quick. It was rapid. And then we spoke about, we're not going to talk about, but the Yang there to put one in. And maybe if there are suitors, maybe put a couple of harky on his evaluation.
What a fantastic link up, though.
Great team goal.
I mean, phenomenal team effort there. And just, I was sitting watching it again earlier on highlights, repeats, and things like that. And I'm going, Jesus, that was a world-class effort there, definitely. It's like something you see off of Real Madrid, etc. 100%.
That's the thing, and again, I know it's pre-season, we're not getting ahead, it's not getting too giddy, right? But it's a fantastic turnover at the top end of the pitch. The speed of play, we just cut them open. And again, I don't care what Eddie Howe wants to say about there maybe a wee bit ahead he is or whatever.
Yes,
because it's easy after the event, isn't it, to play these performances down? As we say, their fans are sitting there telling us how we're going to get tanked and we're a Farmers League and we're pish and we're this and that and everything, right? But when they get beat, it's, we're not quite fat, it wasn't our full team. You know, the excuses just roll off the tongue nice and easy. You know, you've got guys like Gordon, Tonali, Alanga in there. They were telling us, here's Alanga coming on, this is where we tear them apart with the speed. Yeah. I didn't see it.
I didn't see it.
Did you guys?
I seen Idah rip apart Trippier as well. Ripped them apart. Yeah. Just like he didn't exist at all. So, you know, that's someone who's played for the England World Cup team and stuff like that.
And that's the thing, it's easy. It's so easy even for us, let's be honest, even for us, if we get a bad result, it's easy for you to always pivot and say, well, we weren't up for it or this, right? But that's the best thing about it, because the reality is, for the longest period, we have been getting absolutely slaughtered as a league, as a team. And there was one, I don't know if you got to see it. If you haven't, go and seek it out on YouTube. There's one of these, he's a Geordie lad, and he's doing like a kind of at the game thing. And he talks at the end, and he, in short, turns around and says, don't care, paraphrasing, don't care what you want to say. That was a good team. They were a very impressive team, and I wouldn't feel comfortable playing them in the Champions League. That's his words.
I watched that very one earlier on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, on that note, would you guys be happy getting Newcastle in the Champions League after seeing that performance?
100%. Certainly, I would say, I home or away, listen, they're going to go and spend a lot more money. Of course, let's not kid ourselves on. And if they have the likes of Isak in the team, it is game changing, right? Because there was a couple of fairness to our guys, had a couple of opportunities. We were throwing bodies at it, right? They just lacked that wee clinical edge. They did, or they could have converted a few chances. So put him in the team with some extra guys, makes it a lot harder. Would I fear getting them? No, in the same way that I didn't fear getting Aston Villa. Of course, that didn't work our ways, but I'll come back to it. If it's at Celtic Park, well, absolutely. Wouldn't mind them.
Right. It comes down to, we brought up the stats there before, Steve, with the 17 odd shots. I don't think that said shots on target, certainly. So say out of those 17 out of those 17, maybe 6 of them or so were on target. We had great bodies in front of you, as you say, some fantastic performances from our keepers and everything like that as well. Do I think Isak would have made all the difference? No. I think he would have maybe got 1, 2 at a push, because he is a fantastic player. Nobody's saying that he isn't. And he really rounds off the team very, very well. And I'm not putting down anyone in the Newcastle team really at all. But we just had that competitive edge. We had that extra, as you say, clinical finish, clinical end, and something, certain parts of our game that they've not seen or are not familiar with as well, the way that we do link up. So, that's what happens. It's a different team that you're playing.
One thing, guys, that we done that was completely different was Kieran Tierney, and I think we should lay mention to that cross. As it's been said there with Plunge, right? He's not injured. No, he's not. Touch wood, long may it continue. And he isn't still fully fit. We mentioned that, where he looked a bit sort of tired in the Lisbon game and whatnot. No, it was Ralston. But so much more dynamic. It'd just be.
Listen, you look at it, I'd be quite happy.
I can tell you right now, Kieran Tierney, if he stays fit, if he stays in around the team, he will chip in, I imagine, with goal contributions. I reckon he could be in about the 10 to 15 range comfortably. Now, when was the last time you saw one of your left backs that determined and chip in across like that for a header? With that nice side foot, not the sort of laid in, shoveling it in type of crosses. In fairness, I thought at times Taylor had an all right delivery, but Tierney, different gravy. We'll do well.
Tierney's a level up on it. He really is. And if he's not going to be 100% fit, I'd be quite happy playing Inamura for the first half and Tierney for the second, or Tierney first, Inamura second. Like, give him a chance, basically. The link-up play between Tierney and Hatate was absolutely fantastic as well, going down there. And it's basically first touch. Absolutely brilliant. Right on the head of Scales. I don't know who it was that's in front of Scales, has a wee jump as well to try and get the head on it, but big Scales, he's there. The Ginger Maldini puts it across the keeper into the back of the net, as we've seen him do many times, even in the Champions League. He's one of the guys that likes to win a header.
He likes to come up with these surprise headers.
It was a really good header and a fantastic ball for Kieran Tierney. The roar that he got was well deserved. I just wish that it was a wee bit more full, the house, but as we said before, we'll not linger on that. Added value from the board, I think that should have been a freebie for us. That should have been a freebie.
Just like to touch on, we were talking about the roar for Kieran Tierney, by the way. I'm sure you guys have seen it and seen some of the videos and whatnot going around as well. But absolutely horrible behaviour from the Newcastle fans with Yamada coming out.
Yeah, terrible.
Don't think it's fair to be screaming, shouting, etc. I won't say the phrases, but phrases, songs, chants, etc. that are just not welcome in any football stadium for any player.
Am I missing something? Can I just say something, guys? Am I missing here right now? I might be wrong. I'm totally wrong. After yesterday, my perception of what Newcastle were is completely changed. Now, I'm not saying that 10,000 or whatever it represents all of Newcastle as a city or as a fan base. Far from it. There's idiots in every fan base, but I was just a wee bit surprised with how, shall we say, staunch they were. And don't get me wrong, I think there was maybe a lot of Rangers fans in disguise in that. But yeah, some disgusting and some unsavoury behaviour from a team that I thought were kind of happy-go-lucky type fans, but clearly not.
Yeah, no, I would totally agree with that. quite surprised me as well. I didn't think, with us being neighbours so close to them, I didn't think they would be their feelings would be that far south, if you will.
Maybe it's just
but
they're not used to getting gubbed.
Well, there is that, but even beforehand, as I say, like even before the game and what they done and where they went and everything like that, we all know it. I'm not going to mention anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, that a lot of that did take me by surprise as well, I would admit. You know, but listen,
well, do you know what, guys? Let's move away from negativity. And as I say, bear in mind, everybody is entitled to their opinions. Do please be respectful and keep it clean. I know you might say, I'm not sticking up for anybody, but just if you're posting stuff in there, please keep it clean and above board. It's still, remember, we still go out to very different people and folk can see some of these comments, or there'll be kids and stuff watching, so try and keep it clean, please. Really, that's all we're asking for. All righty. But listen, let's move away from absolute dregs to some positivity. Yes, they were directing some unsavoury abuse at our new signing, guys, but Yamada is in the door and there seems to be a lot of positivity about him here. A lot of people asking there, what do we think of him? Do we think that he's going to be, is he going to be a starter? Is he going to be third choice? Is he going to be second choice? I have went and done the wee YouTube crawl. I've tried a wee look at him. Yep, great numbers the season over. Not quite happening from here. But what I will say is, if he can show a percentage, if he can show a third of that kind of energy that Maida's got, when somebody drew out that stat, I don't know if you saw that, where it was the sort of speed stats and distance cover stats, he's very high. So if that work rate's there, I think that's exactly what we need, guys.
I actually heard he was quicker than Maeda, which when I seen it, I looked at it and I just thought that's clearly someone that's just been dragged.
Surely that's not possible, aye.
That can't be real, but listen, like you said, Steve, if he's got half the speed of Maeda and 2/3 of the passion, then he'll be incredible for us. As Maeda, let's face it, covers every single blade of grass on that pitch and puts people under ridiculous amounts of pressure. And we've said it before, if you could have 3 Maedas up front, you wouldn't really need to worry about anything. You would just keep them running in there. That's incredible. Honestly, like if this guy's anything like Dyson and we could have him through the middle, somebody with that pace that's that electric, then that would be...
I quite like this for Brown Warrior, where he says he could be a surprise. He looks fast, he looks strong like Hooper, but also he scored a lot of headed goals, which for a guy that's relatively small in stature is quite a rarity, and that was something that Griffiths was very good at. I think Yamada, he might have just had a bad season. It remains to be seen, but again, when I looked at his stats and I pulled it and we've done it on the channel before, it's funny when you check it out because it's actually very similar reading to the figures that you got from both Kyogo and Maeda coming into Celtic. They guys had a lot more experience, but the actual goal return was quite similar. If we can get anything close to what we have had out of Dyson in Kyogo's time, then mate, it could be another theft, so to speak, for the J League.
Was it not Kyogo had something like 65 goals or something like that? And I think Yamada said about 67. They're very similar. They're in the pocket.
Aye. So it works out roughly, I think. I'm just pulling random for my sort of distant memory from when I done it. I think they've all had roughly over about 150 games, and they're all in that 60+ bracket.
Yeah.
That's decent enough. Obviously, you'd want more. He could be the one that saves Joe if they haven't eaten.
You're so hungry for it, Paddy.
Listen, I want a striker to be 30 goals a season, Joe. I really do. And I feel like at a team like Celtic, with the amount of balls that we put into the box, that our strikers really should be doing that, and probably the same across the city as well. Don't care how good you are, you should be getting those numbers. Now, if Idah is going to be our number one striker, then guys like Yamada and Kenny and everyone else are going to have to push them. And
I'm going to be eating my tap.
You'll be eating your tap.
Yeah, really.
Here's a question for you then, guys. We've brought in Yamada, £1.5 million is, I believe, to be the fee, right? He's been brought in. The manager came out, like he did with Inamura, and says, a club signing, right? Take that as you find it. but he's turned around and says a club signing, which means he'll have had limited to no input in it by the sounds of that. Okay, fine. I think it's safe to say at this moment in time, Inamura will have spinned his head and went, right, okay, maybe these guys that are doing the stats or whoever it is, whether it's Tisdale or whatever, they found me a good one here. Let's give this guy a chance. But we look at Osmond, doesn't get a sniff yesterday, right? Gets a wee bit of time before it. We've spoke about what domino might fall. Yamada, in my opinion, is not coming in. He's not the kind of guy that you bring in and instantly loan out. Now, I'm not saying because he's from Japan that you can't loan a guy from Japan out. But what I am saying is it makes more sense, plus with the fact that there's a fee attached to 1.5 million, but with his Japanese cohorts already in the house, you want to keep him in. He's obviously coming in as a more established, playing have first-team football, that he's going to be a guy who's going to be on there. So who's the domino to fall? Is it Osmond or is it Kenny? Because, as I said, in an ideal world, I keep them all about, but I've got to say, by the sounds of it, surely it's Kenny. Surely, sorry, it's Osmond. Surely it's Osmond.
To Ireland, wasn't he?
He's been making a move. But if it's going out on loan, I'm talking about, sorry, I'm not meaning Kenny. I think you've got to get probably Osmond to go out on loan to play in a big boys league.
Yeah.
I think...
On you go, Joe.
Paddy, on you go.
No.
What I was going to say is, I would agree with you. It's more likely to be Osmond. I'll tell you who I would like it to be, and not a lot of folk will like it, but I'd like it to be Idah. 100%. I'd like it to
out
be
on loan to Hibs
because I just don't think that he's proved enough. I just don't.
Joe, see if he goes out on loan to Hibs and scores 30 goals for them in a season, will you still eat your tap?
I still eat my tap. I'll tell you that, right? I'll still do it because I just don't see it happening because he's lost the hunger. He's got where he wanted to be, and it's like he's just fell apart. But
I do maintain I don't think we will lose on Idah. I hope and pray that he turns it round and he's a vital cog in the machine. But if we get to December and he's still in a crisis, then there's discussions to be had where he might be a loan with an option to buy or something like that down south.
I don't want people to get the wrong idea. I do hope that as well. I want Idah to do well.
I don't think we would lose money on Idah. I genuinely don't. And I don't need to say my working again, but it's basically that down south you can be a 6 to 10 goal striker a season and you'll play every week. So it doesn't matter. Yeah. It really doesn't matter. But I'm optimistic for Yamada, Paddy. I really are. Based on not a lot, but
going forward, I'm quite excited. When we first brought in Inamura and obviously we're linked with Yamada, I struggled a wee bit. I thought, listen, are we just concentrating on the Japanese market here? Have we done everything we can from it? Have we picked all of the superstars out it? But looking at the way Inamura's come into the squad, I'm like, right, okay, there's still diamonds to be found out there. I'm hoping that Yamada comes in with the statistics. I'm hoping that he is as quick or quicker than Dyson. I don't know, can he play on the wing as well? That's another question that we could ask. Is he going to be part of the squad in that kind of way? There's a lot of ifs and buts there, but I'm quite positive with the signing. Definitely.
I think the one thing that Rodgers looks as if he wants to do now, he was quoted again, he was asked, and he kept saying about we've lost a lot of goals. He laid mention again to Nicholas Kuhn, he laid mention to Kyogo, and he even went as far as mentioning Matt Riley. Now think how far back that is. But he's saying that he wants to add goals. That is the task. That's the aim, to add more goals. Yep. Yamada hopefully will get some time on the pitch. We can see that. But yeah, we need to get in more players. But the one thing that it looks as if he wants to do is make the kind of the front three almost interchangeable. Now, I'm not saying that it means you can play any position, but it just means that you don't have that figurehead striker where it's just get the ball to that man there. He wants it to be dynamic. He wants it to be moving parts. And I think that sets us up well. If we can get in still fed up of saying the name Balakwisha, if we can get that in with somebody else, then we're starting to feel a lot better. But from guys coming in to guys going out, Paddy, we'll wrap it up with the chat around about the latest now. Good, bad and indifferent. We have 2 going out on loan. We have, of course, the lesser seen Palma, gone over to Lech Poznan, Polish champions. Now, I don't know if you saw my wee update video that I done there. A bit of a strange one. I don't see him going out there with a view of staying out there because, as I said before, the highest fee that Lech Poznan have ever paid for a player is €2 million, and Celtic have put a price of €4.5 million on it. Now, I don't care how good he is. They're not bursting their transfer record, even though it's a pittance.
Yeah.
They're not a rich league. They are not a rich team. They're not doing it, right? Yeah. So hopefully he can get there and do something. But the other one is Marco Tilio. Now, this is more positive. Tilio goes to Rapid Vienna. We're getting $350,000 up front in our hand to cover the loan. But there's also an option to buy him for 1.3 million. In fact, an obligation, so to say, to buy him for 1.3 million. Happy days, mate.
Yeah, Marco Tilio was one of the ones that could have divided opinion. He come in and we all expected him to be the next Tom Rogic. He was the guy that was going to set the world alight. He was the big up-and-coming player for us. And when he come in, I never really seen it. I never seen what all the hype was about. And he went out there again and was player of the season or something. And then he's come back to us and I've just not really seen it. To me, it reminds me of kind of Mikey.
2 seconds, can we just do this? I wouldn't normally give them the airtime, but they made Celtic Park or Septic Park ours yet again. But he's all left early and get humped. So cheers. I hope you bought a pie. I hope you bought an overpriced pie, an overpriced drink. I hope you spent a lot of money in the kiosk, Amanda. But thanks for dropping in and listening to Chat of the Champions. Subscribe.
Thanks, Amanda. That was nice.
Subscribe button. They probably do subscribe, and that's it. Do you know what I mean?
Sorry,
hit the bell icon.
What was I saying?
You were talking about Palma.
Tilio.
Aye, sorry, Mark, Palma and Tilio remind me of Mikey Johnson, both of them. I just feel like the Celtic jerseys are a little bit too heavy for them. Palma gets found out every single time. He was a one-trick pony, in my opinion. Used to always cut inside, and as soon as they found out that's what he'd done, he was null and void. Tilio, I haven't seen enough from him to be a first choice, second choice, or even third choice.
You saw a wee bit of him yesterday. What did you think, though?
Nothing, mate. He just showed me nothing at all. If you think about the players that we've got that can cover that right-hand side, obviously Nicholas Kuhn's away, right? Is Tilio going to go in there ahead of Yang? Is he going to go in there ahead of James Forrest? No, he's not. No. And if we bring in, obviously you're thinking Balakwisha there, which has been linked again. I hope Celtic pay the extra 1.2 million or whatever it is that's holding the transfer back, because I think he's one that would really, really excite fans. I think he's suited. He'd be well suited to the Celtic way of playing football. He likes to drive for the byline. He's got a decent delivery. He's quick. I think he would tick all the boxes. So Palma and Tilio not first. See you later.
No, that. I think, Joe, these are the kind of guys that they are the epitome of peripheral figures, aren't they? They're very much just they're there. That they were punts going wrong, and Palma again. How much a signing was he, Rodgers? Was he already in the door? Was he agreed? Because he's just never looked the part.
Well, the thing that you guys I know will not like me saying, and maybe some people in the comments will or will not as well, is that see Palma, I think his performances have been the exact same and equivalent to Bernardo. Mm-hmm. And I know you won't like me saying that, but I've just not seen anything from Bernardo at all. I couldn't tell you the last time that I went, he played great. I couldn't tell you the last time that I've seen him put it anywhere near the goal or anything. He's been diabolical as well, and I don't think he's been worth the signing either. So in all honesty, I'd punt him out on loan as well. I'm being harsh. I don't care because I'm done with it. I'm done with the dead weight. I can't stand it, and I think Bernardo is a massive dead weight. How many minutes did he play last season?
What I did say is, I think, I know we're getting off topic here, and that's fine, we like doing that, right? But I think that, I said a while back, and I still maintain it, that I said that if a club came in with a bid for Bernardo that was in the pocket or slightly more what we paid for him, I think Brendan Rodgers would sell him, which
100%.
which I think is completely surprising considering he played him in all those European games in his first season. He didn't really play him too much domestically, but then he went out his way and wanted to get him back in. We saw what he can do. I think he's a steady hand. Personally, I like what I see for Bernardo. I think that there's multiple levels to his game, but I do now think that with the introduction of Nygren, with Engels, with McCown, with Hatate looking like he's going to be sticking about and back on form, he's dropping down the pecking order, and I do have genuine concerns about him.
Clearly, we have all of these players that are better than him. Sorry, Paddy, jump in there. Clearly, we have all these players that are outperforming him and that are, in Brendan Rodgers' eyes and a lot of the fans' eyes, a lot better than him. You can't just come out and play 50 minutes of a total season and have a great 50 minutes. No, it needs to be consistent. It has to, a great 30 minutes. It has to be consistent over the entire time, and it has to have, I agree, been given the chance. Yeah. But Brendan Rodgers obviously doesn't see it in him for a reason. So whether it's he sees lack of passion, lack of effort, lack of training, whatever else it may be, Bernardo out for me.
Well, that's bold. That's bold. It's splitting the comments, guys. It's splitting the comments there.
Listen, I would agree with that. Bernardo, in my opinion, is not better than Arnie Engels.
Thank you.
He is. Bernardo, for me, he's a different type player as well. I think he's more suited to doing the dirty stuff than some of the other players are. Like McCown's more your going forward type player and looking for passes and things like that. I think it was you, Steve, who had compared Bernardo to a mountain goat. Said he was one of these guys who's kind of small in stature but dug in, and he just kind of got in there and in about the game, and that's kind of what he gives you. And it's hard to watch a game and basically say, oh, he had a crap game there, because he's doing the stuff behind the scenes that nobody else really wants to do.
But do you know what I think about Celtic's midfield at this moment in time? We've got some fantastic options, right? We've said this how many times, how many seasons now? See if Celtic went out and signed, and I'm not saying big, strong, and physical. I like saying it because it sounds good. A midfield destroyer, right? See if Celtic went out and got a proper, deep, holding, down and dirty midfielder, right? I'm not talking about a hatchet man, but just somebody that doesn't even need to be a Wanyama, even just a Scott Brown, a total warrior, a guy that goes in there, that digs in, he does the hard tackles, he holds the glue together in the midfield, but he still can play football. He can get the ball down and get it moving. He can do it. See if Celtic went and had that. I actually think you could dispose of at least two guys for your midfield, right? Because right now at this moment in time, we've got loads of very accomplished and good midfielders who probably, obviously, the standout will be Cal McGregor, where he can do pretty much everything, right? Hatate shows potential that he could, but generally speaking, they're all good at wee different bits. They don't have that one complete midfielder that just does. Do you know what I mean? So we're kind of compensating, right? We'll take off the more attack-minded Hatate and we'll bring on Bernardo because he's better defensively, but then you sacrifice the attacking element of Hatate. Or let's take off Engels because he's not quite dirty enough, but then you lose the range of passing Engels. Do you see what I'm saying? We've got loads of different guys where our midfield is trying to fit together to do the job that you could have one good guy that just does it all. Now, I know that costs money, but that's what I'm saying. If Celtic had somebody that ticked that box, you could easily ship off to our midfielders readily.
See, when you're talking about that, Steve, when you're talking about shipping off a midfielder and somebody coming in to take place of another midfielder, McGregor wasn't one of the players that you said, and I understand he's a captain, and
I still think we should be seeking his heir apparent. We should still be seeking him.
Yeah, because in my opinion, McGregor dropped off a lot last season in a few of the games, and as hard as that is to say, he, in my opinion, has to be leading from the front. He's the captain, he's the leader. You talk about Scott Brown there. I want to see him come up with more Scott Brown performances, because Callum, in my opinion, a few games last season wasn't there. And we need our captain and our leader.
I think he's fear of injury as well. I think he's really fear of injury. You know, he had a couple of scares and whatnot.
He just knows we're on this here because obviously Mo is a good pun there on the old Simpsons. Name one. Well, that unfortunately isn't my job. I'm not hired to go and name players. Now, I could name you a million that would cost you money that Celtic don't want to pay, but these players surely exist. Now, again, I refer back, and I know it's just YouTube and what we have resources at the internet's there, but the boy Tiknaz, for example, the young Turkish guy, he ticked a lot of the boxes that just on face value, what I saw from him, what I read about him, he could have been that guy because he had the stature, he had the strength, he had the tackling. When you looked at all his stats and his data, and I know we don't really lean too much on it, but when you looked at his heat maps, you looked at what he'd done well, the various demographics, he looked like that midfielder. Now, that was perhaps a fleeting link, but yeah, there is multiple options that could be out there. It's something that Celtic have undoubtedly, whether you agree with that more or not, or anybody else does that, I think that, you know, that's something undoubtedly that we've had trial and error and have desperately tried to find over the past few seasons, and it never has truly happened. Like Abelgard, everybody thought that was meant to be him, and turned out he was mince.
Yeah. Look at last season, well, not last season, sorry, 2-3 seasons ago, we were linked with McTominay at Man United when he wasn't getting a sniff. And then what was happened with him, he's went on to be that complete midfielder for Napoli. Yeah. He's unplayable now, in my opinion, probably one of the best players in the world last year. It was absolutely outstanding.
Do you know, that was a name that popped into my head there when we were talking about that as well.
Yeah. You look at the Premier League and guys in those positions, every team's probably got that big unit in there. Tottenham had the big boy Vez Bissouma. Like you said, Steve, a hatchet man, just one of these guys. He wasn't in there because he was the flashiest type of passer or whatever else, but he broke up the play. Something awful.
I mean, here's the thing, is Francis is saying it, and again, I don't want to rewrite history. Everybody thought, again, that was supposed to be Idah Gucci.
Yeah, aye.
But it didn't work out.
And then with the boy Iwata as well, who was decent at breaking up the play and things like that, obviously played a few positions for us. He was one that dropped back into defence, and he also played in the midfield. You look at him now for Birmingham. He's outstanding. And
again, maybe people say that's him found his level, but listen, we're just talking about it. We're just, I know it's easier said than done. You know, Celtic could be doing with a bloody well Alexander Isak up front.
Huh?
You know,
speculation is key.
Celtic could be doing with the rebirth of Maldini at centre half. You know, it's these things. They are easier. It is easier for us to say, and most saying there as well. There was the key point as well. A lot is sneered at McTominay. That again, I know that's pie in the sky stuff, but see when there was a genuine chat that he could have been an option. Celtic, see if Celtic had went and done what they never do, which was to break the bank, to break the mould, to break the wage structure. Yes, they could have had him on loan. I had no doubt in my mind. On loan comfortably for a season. And would he have ticked that box? Absolutely right, he would have. These players are out there. I've often said
performances for Scotland, mate. The performances for Scotland were absolutely outstanding. It was the first name in that team sheet every single week.
Well, Paddy, another name that I threw out there that I thought was a great option was Ndidi. I thought Celtic should have tried to go and get him. Now, is he exactly the mould of what I'm talking about? No, but he's pretty damn close. He's a lot closer than some of the other stuff that we've been linked with.
Exactly. The link with Brendan Rodgers as well. Obviously, he's played under Brendan before, so there's players there. There's a lot of players that you could get for a Celtic fee, shall we say, that you're not going to go out there and break the bank, but under the kind of £7 million mark, you certainly get a big enough player in there to fit the mould,
Well, as we finish up, let's talk about somebody who could have been a midfield destroyer, said nobody ever. The Quan artist, because he's going to go to Austria Vienna, apparently. And it says here that he's going to be offered a deal that's a monthly wage, or a weekly wage, sorry, of roughly about $3,500. He's getting about $174,000 a year at Austria Vienna. They want him on a 3-year deal, and Celtic are wanting between the pocket of 200,000 to 300,000 euros. So we're talking about roughly about 198 grand, something like that, just over. Get rid.
Yep. Aye. it's dead weight at this point in time. You're paying a wage for nothing, so you might as well just get going. That's it, done and dusted. I don't think there's much more to be said about that, really.
No.
Did we not buy him and Yang as a package? Were they not like a kind of package deal, basically?
I don't really know, but again, it comes back to like who was scouting. I say this all the time. Who was scouting these guys? Who's scouting Con? How do you scout second division Korean football? No, genuinely, I'm trying to flip it up funny.
A few comments to delete, mate.
Oh, again,
there'll be someone that lives over there. Sending back information and whatnot.
I hope these people. I'm not giving them the hang with, but I hope they enjoy coming out here. I mean, it must be fairly shallow when you've nothing else to do at 11:15 and see what Celtic pods are on, so that you can put out some absolutely unsavoury garbage. But it is what it is. There's always
there can't be any Sevco podcasts on tonight because they're all hiding behind their couch for their game against Panathinaikos coming up. I hope everybody on Tuesday night's going to sit there with the hoops on.
Sitting down for are you going to be sitting down for a hate watch? Are you going to be sitting down like that?
Oh, definitely. Mate.
You seen it like that? No, that wine guy. You ever see that wine guy and he tastes the wine and and does all the handshake?
Yeah, that'll be me. I'll be sitting there with my wee bottle of whiskey and my Panathinaikos.
Don't tell them, Paddy, because you'll be obsessed.
Mate, I'm going to watch it and I'm going to cheer every single tackle, man.
You're obsessed.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Good.
Oh well. Listen,
I've
guys.
Been a Panathinaikos fan.
When I'd seen fairness, I had a wee soft spot for Panathinaikos for an early age, just simply because of the big shamrock green white. It's just, no, genuinely, it's just as simple as that. It was the green and white and the big shamrock. I love
Have you seen their new strip, by the way?
It's a topper, and it was that easy.
Mate,
it was that easy.
Nice.
It was a belter. Aye, I seen it. Somebody put it up and it says it was this easy. Adidas. Was it you that put it in the chat, Steve?
It was so easy.
Oh, so unbelievable. Easy. Yeah.
Anyway, listen, guys, we've went an hour and a half. We've went longer than normal, but over 200 of these. Over 200 of these staying strong. We absolutely love that. Listen, it's been amazing conversation tonight. Plenty to cover, plenty to be positive, plenty to talk about, plenty of discussion, some negatives in there. But as we say, we'll always talk about as we see it. And thanks to every single one of you for taking the time to do it. Get yourselves involved. If you're in this chat and you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Your way out. Cost you nothing. As we say, we're trying to hit 2,000 by the start of the season. But like that, try to reach and touch it. Help us get there. Thank you very much. As we say, it's been phenomenal. The response over the past few videos that we've put out has been phenomenal. We really, really do appreciate everybody's support and taking the time to come and listen to us. So that's us done for the time being. And we'll see what's going on. We'll see if there's some more signings coming around, and as San Francisco on Tuesday. We'd be lying if we said we didn't watch it. I mean, we don't need to worry about the latter stages, so hopefully we'll see if the new revolution is going to kick into gear or not, but who cares? But anyway, take care of yourselves. We'll be back at some stage, and as always, Paddy.
Hail, boys.
See you later.